Hello, Magic Muse, witches, heathens. Welcome back to As Above, So Below, where we talk about all things witchy and magical. So today we're going to be talking about debunking the Ouija board. I had this specific request, so let's talk about this. A lot of people have a big misconception around it, including fear, due to Hollywood. So I'm going to give you some history on how it was invented, who came up with the board, and kind of how it got where it is. So it was invented in Baltimore, Maryland in 1891 by businessman Charles Kennard and attorney Elijah Bond. And Elijah Bond had a sister-in-law named Helen, and she was a psychic medium. And she asked the board what the board wanted to be called, and it was Ouija, which means good luck. So during the spiritualist movement at the peak of the 19th century, this board was used as a parlor game. So a lot of people would go in and, use it kind of like tarot. And it didn't start to get a bad reputation until really when The Exorcist came out. And it started to demonize the Ouija board, just like tarot. Anything that was not of Christian faith was automatically demonized. And I was raised Mormon. I also grew up with the belief of this, but now I actually use the board and I use tarot, and I can really assure you that that is the farthest from the truth. So using the board, really, technically you don't need any of it. The board and the cards are just tools. They're just tools to help you on your journey. It helps you tap into your psychic faculties, and it also has you moving out of your logical thinking and really kind of surrendering to the divine, which I think that's where a lot of people get freaked out and scared. But I have never had anything weird happen. I have never had any demons come in and, do any weird things in my home or to me. I have ultimate respect for the board. I have respect for my guides. If you do choose to work with the board and you are a beginner, you can always say, I am only connecting to spirits who are of higher elevation, or, I'm not calling in any lower vibrations. Don't even acknowledge that. Because when you approach anything with fear, you're going to attract that. So even before you start to use the board, I would do a little cleansing and a connection of you and the board. And ask yourself what your intentions are to use the board. I know for me, a lot of the times I just like to keep those muscles moving, like I utilize tarot, I utilize the board, but oftentimes I already know the answers. So I don't really seek anything outside of me really much anymore. But sometimes I do like to use it. Like I have a spirit that I have actually seen in my home, and I didn't know, where she came from, or how her name or anything like that. Use the board. And it told me that she was a kind spirit, but she was just really intrigued with what I do. And because I can see her, she's also very interested in that as well. So I use that to connect with her roots, where we met, where she came from. And turns out her name is Elaine. And she actually migrated from Europe. And I live in Charleston, so I have gone downtown to Charleston and I've done ghost tours. It's a very, it's a place that have a lot of spirits and a lot of energy. So I'm not surprised that that happened, you know. But she came up at a time where I was really learning about boundaries in my mediumship, in my current life. You know, that seemed to be a really big theme. And that was something where I had to tell her, hey, please don't visit me in my room, you know, because she visited me around like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I woke up and I saw her in my dream, but then I saw her in my waking world too. And she was just a shadow, and she had her hair pulled up, and she had kind of like this lace little collar. I couldn't see anything else from there, but she walked around the bed, and then she stopped and she looked at my husband. And then as soon as I realized that she was real, she vanished. So that just goes to show you that the board can help you to get to know the people on the other side better. So if there's somebody who you are wanting to connect with, you know, like a passed on loved one, grandma, grandpa, whatever, you know, and you don't quite have the mediumship part kind of dialed in, this can be an excellent tool. And like I said, when I use it, I know the answer before the planchette even spells it out. So sometimes it feels a little slow to me now because I just get that download of information. But guys, all of these are tools. And especially if you are developing your psychic faculties, these are excellent tools to use to help you become more comfortable in your gifts, just like dowsing rods. You know, and we are all innately psychic. We all have that. We can all tap into that if we choose to, but it just depends on how much you want to work it. And I don't approach anything with fear, except for heights. I'm scared of heights. But like, you learn to just trust in your craft, and your craft is what you make of it. You know, if you want to live a fear-based practice, that is all you. But for me, I look at these as, you know, just tools, and they're there if I need them, because the magic's in you. You are the magic, and you can tap in whenever you want. So I hope this clarifies some things around the board. If you have any questions, go ahead and pop them down in the comments below. I would love to answer for you, help guide you if you do choose to use the board. But my biggest thing is just make sure that you are cleansed and ready for this. Because like I said, Hollywood has made it to be this fear-based thing that it's really not. There's not going to be possessions, you know, just build up the muscle. It might take a little bit for you to get it going. I know it did for me. Like, I had to practice, and I was determined. I was like, I'm going to sit here, and I had my Hecate statue. She was right there with me, and I asked her for help. I was like, hey, can you help me, you know, channel this? And at first it only moved like very, very little, but then it started to gain momentum, and it started to really kind of move quicker. So like I said, like anything, you're gonna kind of utilize that muscle to build it stronger. So, but thank you guys for being here. I hope this helped, and I will see you on the next one. Blessed be. Bye.